Greetings, my name is Will Moss. I am the CEO of HBCU Connect, and this evening or this afternoon, depending on where you're tuned in from, we are super excited to be hosting Visa for this special event for students and recent grads and the opportunities that are available at Visa. So we put together a great team at Visa that's going to present, share their opportunities, talk about themselves and their path, allow you to ask questions, allow you to engage and make the most of this opportunity to potentially land a career or an internship at Visa. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me go over the agenda quickly so that you know all about what we're going to cover for this event. I'm going to give you a brief welcome for myself. I'm going to introduce our two keynote speakers, who are Courtney Taylor, who's going to talk about Visa and the early careers overview. And then I'll also introduce Chike Ukebu, who's going to speak on crypto and the opportunities within crypto and his story as well. We'll have like a fireside chat. Then we'll have a panel discussion. So the Visa team has so graciously volunteered their time to come and to meet with you, to talk about their experiences, to answer some questions about the Visa culture. So I'm going to introduce each team member from the panel so you know who you're talking to. Then we're going to start a panel discussion. I prepared some questions on your behalf, but feel free to drop questions in the chat as well. And if I see a good question in the chat, I may have time to pose that question during the panel discussion. But if not, also take notes and be ready to ask questions in the breakout sessions, because the point of the breakout sessions is to break you all up into areas of interest. So we'll have a technology breakout session, a finance breakout session, Visa leadership, development program session, and then a crypto session, and you'll be able to engage on those different areas and ask questions to our speakers that are here for you this evening. All right, then after the breakout sessions, you'll come back into the main room. Then we'll talk about next steps and what you need to do to get hired at Visa. All right, so stay tuned for the full program. All right, quick overview, because I don't want to take up too much time. I want to give the time to our keynote speakers to talk about Visa. But in case this is your first time interacting with HBCU Connect, we are here for you. We're all about providing opportunities for students and graduates, not only from historically Black colleges and universities, but also diverse students and professionals as well that are looking for opportunities with some of the great companies that we partner with, like Visa. So the point of this opportunity is not just for you to listen and learn, but the point of this opportunity is for you all to take advantage of these opportunities, to apply, to land interviews, and then for you all to get hired, right? This is a serious opportunity, and people always get hired from our events that we host like this. So definitely take notes and then take action after the event. So that is an opportunity for you. This is a little bit about our partnership with Visa. We've been partnering with Visa for the last 2 or 3 years now. This is not the first event that we've done with Visa, so kudos to Visa. They are here to present their opportunities, and they've been doing so consistently. So we really want you all to take advantage of that. And kudos again to the Visa team for volunteering their time after work hours to join us and share their opportunities. So without further ado, let me introduce our first keynote speaker, who is Courtney Taylor. And Courtney's going to talk about Visa and early careers overview. But Courtney is also the early careers inclusion and diversity analyst. So Courtney, if you're ready.
Hi, everyone. So again, my name is Courtney Taylor. I am on the early careers team. I've been with Visa for nearly 1 year now, and I sit in our Atlanta office. So just to give you a quick background on who I am as a person and just my background. So I went to, first of all, I'm from Los Angeles, California, born and raised. I attended Cal State Dominguez Hills for undergrad. So I have a Bachelor of Arts in Sociology. And then after that, I attended Clark Atlanta University. So I do have a Master of Arts in African American Studies. Have about 5 years of experience in diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and just some of my previous jobs. So I've been involved in equity and inclusion at Urban League. And then I also have a multicultural affairs and admissions background from higher education. Currently in my role at Visa, I manage all of our inclusion and diversity partnerships for the early careers team. So some of our other IND partners, as we call it for short, would be NSBE, SHIP, MLT, CodePath, And then we have a couple of others that we tend to partner with. It may not be as frequent as the ones that I just named. So yeah, I'll go ahead and start with an overview of Visa, and then we'll get more into early careers. So Visa is a world leader in digital payments, facilitating more than 215 billion payments transactions between consumers, merchants, financial institutions, and government entities across more than 200 countries and territories each year. Our purpose is to boldly uplift everyone, everywhere, by being the best way to pay and be paid. We are a network working for everyone, connecting 3 billion account holders to 61 million merchants, 15,500 financial institutions and governments in more than 200 countries and territories. And we also help level the playing field for those who have been traditionally underserved. We do good in the world. So the Visa Foundation launched the Equitable Access Initiative, a 5-year, $200 million strategic commitment to support gender diverse and inclusive small businesses around the world. And just to name some of the awards that we've previously won. So we were listed on Fortune Magazine's World's Most Admired Companies for 2022. Our CEO, Al Kelly, ranked number 5 on Glassdoor's 100 Top CEOs in 2021. And our company is also a Glassdoor Best Place to Work in 2022 and certified a Great Place to Work in 2022. So now I do want to cover just a couple of our internal I&D initiatives before you go to the next slide. So just some of our internal I&D initiatives. So in 2020, we established Stand Together, which is a series of commitments to taking key actions to address racial injustice and drive equity and inclusion, including increasing the number of diverse employees at Visa, enhancing the experience for Black and African American colleges, and promoting education and active allyship. We also have a Visa Black Scholars and Jobs program, which is a 5-year, $10 million investment scholarship program for Black high school seniors in the US intending to study business or technology in college. We currently support 126 students and will continue to offer them ongoing training, one-on-one mentorship, and in-person learning experiences. We also host inclusion and diversity talks. So this is a global education series for Visa employees, and it's designed to promote active learning, dialogue, and allyship. We also empower our employees to give back through global programs like the Dollars for Doers program. We also have a volunteer time off program. And this year, we had a Kiva campaign, and over 17,000 Visa employees directed $885,000 in loans to 14,300 small and micro small businesses. And then I'll highlight one more thing. So some of our external I&D partnerships that we have. So we recently partnered with Kinley, which is a financial services company helping Black America build generational wealth, to pilot Visa's new suite of crypto APIs, which will enable its customers to purchase and trade digital assets by Anchorage Digital, which is a federally chartered digital asset bank. We also have a number of other external partnerships that we have. So in 2020, we partnered with Daylight, which is a digital banking platform to help improve the financial lives of the 30 million and more members of the LGBTQ plus community in the US. And then one more that I'll highlight, we also in 2019 launched a women's owned small business initiative called She's Next, which is empowered by Visa to empower and support women entrepreneurs. So next slide, please. So this goes more into some of our early careers programs. So just starting with our intern program. So each year, hundreds of students join Visa to be at the forefront of emerging payment technologies, helping to expand financial access and enable how people move money around the world in order to uplift everyone, everywhere. This is how many interns we had last year. So we had 600, well, technically earlier this year, but we had 613 interns for our summer 2022 internship program. 70% of those interns were in tech roles, and 26% of the interns landed business roles. So we have a global internship program. It spans across 5 regions and 20 countries. And these are the different functional areas that we have down here. So business, merchant sales and solutions, marketing and communications, global product solutions, the people team, and so many other different functions, which I will actually go more into on the next slide. So our summer internship program, it is a 12-week full-time, again, summer internship. So we don't offer internships in the fall, in the spring, or year-round. These are hybrid positions with the expectation that you work in the office at least 50% of the time. There's also corporate housing options available for those who aren't local to the area. We also provide a mobility cash stipend, a one-time $350 commuter benefit stipend after you start. There are also some paid holidays that factor into that. And then you also will have the potential to receive a full-time offer based on your performance. And to give you more context into the interview process, so for tech roles, it does require the completion of a HackerRank or a Code Signal coding challenge prior to the first round interview. And then following that, you will have 2 interview rounds. So your first interview round is a 30-minute behavioral or technical interview virtually. And then the second/final round interview is up to 45 minutes, and it's either behavioral, technical, or a case interview virtually. Down at the bottom, these are our Visa US offices. So we have an office in Ashburn. I mentioned to you all that I'm in Atlanta, but we also have an Austin office, a Bellevue office, Charlotte, Foster City, Highlands Ranch, Lehigh, Miami, New York, Palo Alto, San Francisco, Toronto, Washington, D.C., and then Wilmington. So lots of different locations that you can choose from. Now, for our new college graduates, these are the types of programs that we have to offer. So a new college graduate would be anyone graduating within December of 2022 to August of 2023. So we offer rotational programs. So the purpose of these rotational programs are to build a pipeline of diversified top talent within cross-functional business experience and knowledge. So we do have a Visa Leadership Accelerator program, and we actually do have a panelist today who will be representing our VLA program and just talking more about their experience within the rotational programs. But the Visa Leadership Accelerator program, it is a 2-year program opportunity for new college graduates. You'll have the opportunity to rotate across 4 6-month rotations. Some of the competency-based rotation models will include client-centric topics, financial acumen, strategic thinking, and then product development. This program was launched in 2009. It had a different name previously, so we just changed the name. And then recruiting begins in the fall prior to the year start date. And then we also have a people team development program, which is formerly HRDP, so Human Resources Development Program. This is a 3-year program opportunity for new college graduates. You also will be able to rotate throughout different functions within human resources. This does require, though, an advanced degree with a focus in human resources. Next slide, please. And this just details a couple of other options. So essentially, as a new college graduate, there's 2 routes that you can go. You can go into one of our rotational programs, or you can become a direct hire into the business. So some of the other rotational programs that I haven't mentioned, we also offer a crypto rotational program. We have a client services rotational program. We have an associate product management program, and we also have a finance rotational program. And then if you want to be a direct hire into the business, meaning that you work full-time in one specific function, for technology, you can work as a software engineer, you can work as a systems or data analyst or a data engineer. And then for our non-tech roles, you can work in legal, there's marketing, communications, finance, accounting, visa consulting, and analytics. So these are our different functions that we have for new college graduates. And to give you insight as well into the interview process, so for new college graduate roles, it will require 2 to 3 interview rounds depending upon the role. And if it is a technical role, it will require the completion of a technical assessment.
Awesome. So Courtney, quick question. Will you be in one of the breakout rooms?
Maybe, we'll see. I can be.
Okay. So if you don't jump into a breakout room and you want to hang out with me in the main lobby, for our candidates, if you have any general questions, I think it would be good that time, once we have the breakout sessions, if they have those general questions, maybe they can hang out in the main lobby.
Okay, sounds good. I'll plan to do that then.
Awesome. Definitely, Courtney is a wealth of information. And thank you for being one of our keynotes and giving us that overview of the awesome programs at Visa. To our candidates, if you have questions for Courtney, go ahead and drop those questions in the chat, but we're going to keep things moving right along. And let me introduce Chike Ukegbu, who is head of crypto policy and emerging markets insight. We're going to have sort of a fireside chat conversation. So Chike, if you're ready, you can go ahead and cut on your camera, and would love for you to start by giving a little bit of your background and your path to Visa.
Wonderful. Hey, everyone. It's good to be here. I wish I could see faces. I love to engage people. But just like Will said, my name is Chike Ukegbu. I've been looking at all the responses. I did see a few people from my alma maters, if that's the right word. City College of New York, where I studied biomedical engineering, and of course Howard, HU, But yeah, I currently lead crypto policy and emerging markets insights at Visa, originally Nigerian, even though I've been in New York way too long. But yeah, that's a brief bio. It's all on the screen. I'm happy to answer questions during the breakout. But as you know, I'm very passionate about crypto. I believe that crypto is an effective financial inclusion tool, and part of the reason why I'm in the space, especially for what I call untapped communities, so emerging markets in this case. So I'm looking forward to connecting with many of you in the breakout room to answer any questions you may have, and hand it back to Will while we go on this fireside chat.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of background. I love the fact that you went to the other HU. I actually went to Hampton.
But so no, we're the real HU, that, right?
Yeah, the real HU. We always joke about that. But Chike, tell me, how did you go from Howard to ending up working at Visa and then in the crypto space? Tell us that path of that journey.
Okay, so my path was different. It was weird, right? I had moved to Nigeria to run for office, came back in 2019, was trying to raise a fund, a venture capital fund with a partner. And then COVID, of course, struck. At that point, sat home for a few weeks and decided, I might as well just go get an executive MBA at Howard. And that's how I ended up at Howard. It was virtual. But at the time, I was actually building a fintech startup that had crypto in it, because at the time, Nigeria was the third largest Bitcoin market in the world and had, of course, very high crypto adoption rates. And a friend of mine was like, hey, you should talk to Kai. So Kai is the head of crypto at Visa. And Kai and I go on a few calls, talked about Africa, talked about Nigeria. And weeks later, he was like, dude, can you come help us figure out strategy for the continent? And many more conversations later, I ended up at Visa. And it, to me, was definitely a brilliant decision. It's a wonderful team. Initially, I was a little skeptical because I'm like, I don't really like corporate environments. But the crypto team within Visa operates more like a startup, right? We're small, we're nimble. We have great, brilliant people, some of whom are here. You guys will get to meet Howard, Sean. So It's been exciting. I've been there since last June, so about going on 18 months now, and it's been some of the most exciting times. Yeah.
Awesome. So I think it would be good to talk a little bit about, what Visa is currently focused on in the crypto space, just to give an overview. And then for our candidates, if you all have, interest in crypto, if you have questions about crypto, we're actually going to have a breakout room with Chike in the breakout room to talk a little bit more in depth and answer your questions about the crypto space and the opportunities within. But if you could just give us sort of a high level on what the focus is for Visa in the crypto space.
Wonderful. Just like Courtney said, right? So anywhere payments are mentioned, we want to be there, right? Considering that especially in emerging markets, the use cases for crypto, of course, was to enable, transactions and payments and commerce between people locally as well as cross-border and all of that. Of course, it made sense that we had to be there, right? But just like Courtney also pointed out, we don't just want to be there, we want to make sure that your experience is optimal. So one, when we talk about on and off ramps, right, it's how do we get you the access you need into the crypto ecosystem, right? How do you use your card, your Visa card, to buy crypto, right? And for those who have crypto on exchanges, when you have crypto and you want to spend it, how are we making sure that you can use your Visa card to do that? So that's on-ramping and off-ramping, right? If you want to buy crypto, we want you to be able to use your Visa card or Visa credentials to do that. If you want to spend the crypto that you have, we also want to make sure that you have that ease in doing the same, right? The other thing is, via crypto literacy partnerships, events like this, we want to make sure that we can bridge that gap between our clients, our communities, and the crypto ecosystem, right? Sometimes you engage people and they're like, I don't know where to start.
Right.
This is just too much. It's so confusing. We want to be able to break it down, make it easy for you to digest, and then help you decide how and if you should, take the leap, faith into the crypto ecosystem, right? So bridging that gap, right? Fostering crypto literacy around the world is extremely important to us. And then, of course, working with central banks, right? I'm sure a lot of you have heard CBDCs. So that's central bank digital currencies, right? Which are different from stable coins or NFTs or DeFi and, all the different verticals in crypto. But for central banks that want to launch central bank digital currencies, we're making sure that one, we are providing, the advisory and the consulting thought leadership to help them do that. Sean actually is on the CBDC team, so he would have a whole lot more to talk about in the breakout session. So just doing that, and not just central banks, but also clients, financial institutions, banks, like people who have questions about how to engage in the crypto ecosystem that come to us. We walk them through that process. In my capacity, it's how do we help to influence policy around the world, favorable crypto policies around the world, and standards around the world. So we try to crank out thought leadership that says here are best practices on how you can institute policies and regulations to help manage this. So we are very active in the space. And of course, our goal is to make sure that your experience is net positive for our users, for our clients, for communities around the world.
Awesome. So to wrap up the fireside chat, I want to ask a question just to hit home. In your opinion, what is it that you like most about working for Visa? Community.
It's so I don't even know how to explain it, right? So it's one of the best environments you can be in, right? We're all friends, we are all colleagues. There's that respect there is that collaboration. There's that brilliance, like you're in the midst of extremely intelligent people that pushes you to make sure that you're bringing your best to the table, right? So for all of you who are excited about launching your careers or, furthering your careers, Visa is a place for you to be. So I would say endeavor, do what you can to get the interview and be prepared. You will encounter brilliant people that will challenge, your brilliance to make sure that it's the right ecosystem for you and it's the right community, right? But yeah, that definitely community.
Awesome. So Chike, let me thank you for being not only one of our keynotes for this fireside chat, but also for taking part in sharing your knowledge in the breakout session for the crypto. So to our candidates, if you have questions that you'd like to post in the chat for Chike, go ahead and drop those questions in the chat. But Chike will also be in a breakout room specifically to talk about opportunities within crypto. So,
I'm going to drop my information in the chat as well. Feel free to send me emails or messages via LinkedIn. All right. Thanks.
Awesome. So thank you, Chike. And this is what I like to say, when you come to our events, you are in the right place at the right time, because not only are you going to learn more about the opportunities so that you can make a decision on applying, but then you have access to folks. I forgot to mention that Courtney also is an HBCU grad, I believe from Clark, Atlanta. And Chike went to Howard University as a part of his studies. So again, Chike, thank you for being one of our keynotes. And with that, let me go ahead and introduce our panelists. And our first panelist is Simona Butler, who is Senior Director, Global Sourcing and Marketing within Visa. So Simona, if you're ready, we'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do at Visa.
Sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. Most people know me as Simona Rapsat, got married, added the Butler part to it. So I wanted to make sure I'm Simona Rapsat Butler, because if you ask about me, it's only Simona Rapsat, not Simona, first name, Rapsat, last name, but one whole name, Simona Rapsat. So pleasure to meet you guys. I am not an HBCU graduate, but I have been around the HBCU universe all my life. My father was, he's still alive, but a professor at Grambling State. So I spent some of my years growing up in Grambling, Louisiana. And then he eventually came to Clark, before it was Clark Atlanta, and taught there. And then when it became Clark Atlanta, he taught at Clark Atlanta. Of course, I've had friends and family members who've gone to Morehouse and Spelman. So I've always been around the campuses, and I've always been engaged because of my parents. My mother also was a professor as well on both campuses. So pleasure to meet everyone. I'm originally from the U.S. Virgin Islands. I have been with Visa for the past 3 years, a little over 3 years. I sit in the global sourcing, so I'm in finance. And with this company at Visa, sourcing actually sits in finance. My specialty is marketing. Marketing sourcing doesn't always sit in finance, but I'm excited to be a part of the finance organization. I did graduate from University of West Georgia. I won't age myself. And back in the day, it was called Mass Communications with interest in radio and television. Didn't think I was pretty enough to be in front of the screen, so I figured I'd be behind. So was really excited about doing that, but actually fell into a different area of mass communication, more on the editorial written word side of it. I have worked in previous roles prior to Visa, was about 3.5 years in Detroit with Quicken Loans, and also led the supplier diversity efforts there, and still do a lot of work with supplier diversity in the marketing realm for some business organizations. And prior to that, did nearly 10 years in Bentonville, Arkansas for Walmart corporate offices. I was the founding member, one of 3 founding women members of the procurement team that sat in marketing for marketing, and I'm quite proud of that. Let's see, I'm affiliated with a couple of great organizations if you're interested in marketing specifically and marketing related fields. ANA is the Association of National Advertisers. It is a business organization, again, for those from the marketing and related fields. And then The executive level of that is AIM, the Alliance for Inclusive and Multicultural Marketing. And I recently, for this year, was nominated and am a panel member for NARB, which is the National Advertising Review Board. I too will drop my information for LinkedIn. Feel free to connect if you'd like to learn anything more, and excited to talk with you guys.
Awesome. And then Simona, you'll be in one of the breakout rooms as well, correct?
I sure will.
Awesome. Awesome. So again, thank you, Simona, for being one of our panelists. I'm going to introduce all of our panelists, and then we'll have our panel discussion. And then, of course, anything we miss out on, you all can jump in and ask questions in the breakout sessions directly to our different panelists. Okay, next up, let me introduce Sean Howard, who's a product manager within crypto and CBDC protocols. So Sean, if you'd like to introduce yourself and a little bit about what you do at Visa.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Sean Howard, and I'm a current product manager on the Visa crypto team. So I work very closely with Chike, and I specifically focus on CBDCs, which is an acronym for Central Bank Digital Currencies. And essentially what we're trying to do is help governments and international agencies from the US to the European Union to countries across the world turn their dollar, their euro, their peso digital, and to take advantage of some of the cryptocurrency innovations and infrastructures that have come out in the past several years, as well as trying to figure out how their government issued currencies can be more interoperable and take advantage of some of the benefits that crypto has. I started off, I'm not too much older than you all, as I'm a recent grad from Stanford University. I can finish there in 2020 with an undergrad major in international relations. So, I was a non-STEM major going into the crypto world. And then I was able to, during COVID, take an extra year to finish a master's in management science and engineering. I had a pretty diverse background going through Stanford. I started off thinking I wanted to be a software engineer and an internship at Facebook. And it was cool, but I didn't really love it. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to think more big picture, closer to the communities I care about. And so then I got to work at a fintech startup abroad in Ghana. Actually, I spent 4 months there working in Accra, getting really involved in African and West African payment spaces, which was sort of an introduction for me to Visa and this whole world of payments. And then from there, I went to work at a consulting firm, BCG, where I worked on large government projects. At my time at Stanford, I got to be involved in a bunch of different community affiliations and whatnot. I was a part of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee for the School of Engineering, where we tried to really systematically change the way that Stanford approaches graduate and minority recruitment and support. I'm also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and I took part in several different student orgs that I highly recommend you all to do if you can, such as MLT, which is Management Leadership for Tomorrow, as well as the Jackie Robinson Foundation. I found myself at Visa, honestly, just 3 months ago. I started working here on the CBDC team, but this was not my intro to CBDCs. Right out of the master's program, I got recruited by some old mentors in the Bay to join a startup as a co-founder, building these CBDCs as a sort of a moonshot project underneath a European tech company. I started off there just as a product manager, knowing not that much about crypto, just the average amount. And within a month, I was traveling to different countries in Latin America and Africa, talking to central banks about how they should install and regulate their cryptocurrencies. That was an amazing experience. Got to travel the world through that. I was barely home. I guess I did well enough so they eventually rose me up the ranks to head of product and eventually running the company. Unfortunately, with the Russian war hitting and our benefactor being European, that messed up some of their finances and they had to kill the project. However, you always have to keep a good community and good connections. And I collaborate with a bunch of the Visa crypto team as competitors actually in different countries. And when they heard that, there was new talent on the table, they scooped me up. And so I've absolutely loved my time here so far. And just like Chike said, it just feels just like another startup environment like I just was in. I'm really happy to be here and to talk to you all about anything from breaking into tech and STEM and crypto from a humanities background. finding a different path or trying to put it all together or anything.
Awesome. So Sean, let me thank you for being one of our panelists as well. And you'll also be in one of the breakout sessions, correct? In the crypto?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so with that, let me introduce our next panelist, who is Ashley Smart, Organizational Change Manager, SWAT Change Champion Network Community Manager in Corporate IT. So Ashley, if you'd like to introduce yourself, a little bit about your background and what you do at Visa.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Well, I am all about the employee digital experience. And right now I am an IT change manager. I am an advocate and agent of change at Visa. I've been with Visa about 10 months and I'm hoping to make that very many more. My role, I concentrate on the employee experience and ensuring that it's an awesome one with updated tools and processes and any other changes that come about across the landscape. Previously, I worked at Sunoco, so not the gas company in South Carolina, where I focused on the digital employee experience using Microsoft tools and applications. There, I conducted change management activities and tried to drive effective adoption to also create a community of supporters, which is what I do in my role as the SWAT Change Champion Network manager as well. So I'm all about creating a sense of community and bringing other change agents together. Also at Sunoco, where I was there for about 7 years, I had the opportunity to be a project manager, and there I managed mostly finance IT projects. And then even before that, I moonlighted as the company's Microsoft 365 guru. Outside of my technology experience, which I have a lot of technology experience in the IT space, I also worked in marketing for about 10 years. And this is where I get to put my creative hat on. So I tend to be that liaison between the technical and the business, being able to help with transitioning technology smoothly into the organization. So this is probably why I'm in change management now. Change management really is the IT department's marketing group. So if that's something that you're interested in, I can definitely speak to that. I've had the privilege of attending Howard University, University of Maryland, and Drexel University, where I earned my master's in information systems. Because I'm so excited about education and technology, I started my own all-girls after-school program called Girls University. This was my way of connecting my community with my passion for science, technology, and engineering, and thus inspiring more girls across the country to pursue the same. I'm also a member, an active member of NSBE, and also Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and Junior League.
Awesome, Ashley. So we're very excited to have you as one of our panelists. So if you just hang on, I think we have one more. I think we have Louisa to introduce, and then we'll start our panel discussion. So next up, we have Louisa Oyambo, who's a participant in the Visa Leadership Accelerator program and LAC sponsorships and partnerships. So Louisa, if you are ready.
Yeah, I am. Thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here. Hi, everyone. My name is Louisa. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, grew up in Dallas, graduated college from Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, with a degree in government. I also dabbled a little bit in women and gender studies. You'll realize this later, but sometimes you don't end up finishing your minors, but it's okay. It was the journey along the way. I'm currently in the Visa Leadership Accelerator program, previously the new grad development program. And currently my team is the Latin American sponsorships and partnerships team. And we're really focused on working with Latin American Visa clients, which tend to be banks. And in this case right now, we're currently really working on our sponsorship events like the Qatar World Cup that's starting in a few days, and also thinking ahead to the FIFA Women's World Cup that's coming up. So far it's been a really great experience, although I've only been on the team for 2 months because as Courtney said, this is a rotational program. When it comes to my experience, I've done a little bit of everything, and you'll see why I ended up choosing a rotational program as my first post-grad career job. So one of my first internships was as a congressional intern, where I worked here in Dallas, Texas, for a Texas State House senator. It was a really cool experience. I was a government major. It made sense. I'm glad I did it. It wasn't for me long term. So I was like, what can I do? What are my other passions? What can I pursue? I ended up then going into marketing and interning as a marketing intern for a small architecture firm, but it was also kind of an art firm, a very complicated experience. But there I was a marketing project manager, and it was a really great experience. I got to launch a new product, and that was really exciting. And I realized maybe then that I wanted to do more marketing and more tech. And then unfortunately the global pandemic hit, and I was home for a very long time. And this is when my friends and I, because I was still in college at the time, classes were pass fail. So it was great. We had a lot of time. We said, you know what, we feel a little helpless during this global pandemic. What can we do? So we co-founded a company called Give Essential, where we gave back to essential workers during their time of need. So we gave them items such as lotion, children's toys, gift cards, remember the time when everyone was hoarding Lysol, things like that, that essential workers really needed on their front lines, but weren't able to get. But you might have had 10 at home. So how do we get those 10 that you have in your house, so essential workers on the front lines? So that's when I really realized that I wanted to do, a lot of different things. And it would be a very complicated path for me. But I was lucky enough that I was in MLT, which Sean, actually, shout out to him for making that call out earlier, Management Leadership of Tomorrow. Cannot sing it from the rooftops loud enough, but it is a great program. And they connected me to Visa and to this program. And they said, you know what, if you don't know what you really want to do yet, we can put you in a program where every 6 months you'll be trying out a new team across different across different teams in Visa. So my first experience was actually social impact, where I was focused on financial literacy, and that was a great experience. My second team was more marketing focused, where I focused on brand and content governance, which was great. And then now I'm also on a marketing team again, because I realized that was sort of a passion of mine. I want to figure out, how can Visa work for me and align with my interests? So it's been a really great experience so far, and I'm excited to tell you guys more.
Awesome. So with that, to all of our Visa team members, if you'd like to go ahead and turn on your video, we're going to have a brief panel discussion, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. But I want to try to get at least one question into each one of our panelists before we go into the breakout rooms. But Louisa, since you're the last one, I'll start with you first. And so the question I have for you, and so to our candidates, I'm asking these questions on your behalf. So, I'm serving as an advocate, but if you have questions that you maybe want me to try to sneak in before we go to the breakout rooms, go ahead and drop them in the chat. But if I can't get to them, just be ready to ask your questions once you go into the breakout rooms, okay? But we'll go ahead and start our panel discussion. So I'm going to turn off my screen sharing so that we can see all of our panelists. Okay, Louisa, first question. What do you think is the key to having a successful transition from college to career, specifically at Visa, in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't know if there's any one key, but I think for me, what I found was really important being in a rotational program was being flexible. I've worked with 3 different managers over the past year, and that means that they've all had incredibly different working styles and in different ways of communicating, different ways of delivering products and all those things. And I had to learn how to do it, and I had to learn it fast. 6 months seems like a lot of time when you're rotating, but really a month or 2 in, everyone's expecting you to have a handle and grasp of what you're doing, so you can actually, contribute to the team and contribute to the bottom line. So being really flexible and open to learning, because there's a lot you don't know, and there's a lot you don't know about Visa, because Visa is a very large company. I've been here a year, and I'm still learning everything that Sean and everyone else was talking about. I'm still learning, and Chike, they were talking about, I wasn't familiar with those things. So you're going to keep learning as you keep going, and you just have to be open to that.
Excellent. So Simona, I'm going to ask this next question to you. And so this is sort of a candidate question. I was going to consider working at Visa. Are there any non-advertised benefits that you enjoy as an employee at Visa?
Yeah, I think Chike mentioned it at the top. It was interesting to be inside of a big corporate company. I did, like I said, Walmart for nearly 10 years, Quicken Loan for 3.5, but this was the first time that I felt like this company really cared about me, right? We had George Floyd's murder, we had all the social unrest that was going on, and they stepped up and paid attention. And not just in like creating programming and having conversations and making sure people were taking all the bias trainings, right? All the things that all and everybody typically goes to. I'm not saying we didn't do that. We did that and, right? We have strong ERGs. Vibe Bay Area is the ERG that is, ERG is Employee Resource Group for Foster City. There's one in Atlanta. There's one in Austin. All of the different offices have a Vibe chapter. We created a Vibe Finance for those of us in finance, and we created the sense of community where you had a safe place to go. And I don't think people, it's hard to articulate it, as Chike said, because it's a feeling, it's being on the inside and getting that. But I felt like I could create an environment where people knew that we were invested in them, right? Hence, we created the Vibe Finance. The company created safe places to have real conversation around what was going on. They provided mental health services. They helped people understand that people may be triggered. What does that mean, right? And it was not just this, we're going to give it lip service, because this has continued. It didn't just happen and then everybody was like, oh, it's going to, like, it continues to happen. And then we also said corporately, there were some things we wanted to do in the industry, in the world. We wanted to make an impact. The Black Scholars Program, I happen to have been the person that did the contract to help facilitate that, right? So that made me feel good as an individual contributor, as a manager of others, as a person who's hiring others, to be able to say, I am investing in the pipeline for this company, and guess what? They look like me.
Awesome. Great insight there on some of the non-advertised benefits about working at Visa. So let me shoot this next question to Ashley, and then I have one for Sean. But Ashley, can you talk a little bit about how you feel your experience having attended an HBCU may have helped prepare you for what you're doing now at Visa?
All right, had to get myself off mute. This is a great question. When I started at Howard, I was afraid, mainly because I grew up where I was one of few, if you know what I mean about that. So the environment was super challenging for me. However, it was a great experience that gave me a really good foundation for my career. It also helped me to figure out more about myself and find myself, honestly, and helped me to understand my passion for serving in my local community and my love for science, technology, and engineering. I often say, you know what, I probably should have majored in engineering, because everyone in my crew back at Howard was in computer science or engineering.
Excellent. I always love to hear those stories. It's something that we reflect on often, I think, once we get into the workforce coming from HBCU. So I appreciate that insight. Okay, so Sean, let me also loop you into the conversation before we go into our breakout rooms. And my question for you is, I'm sure as you kind of ended things with your last career leading sort of a startup, you probably had lots of options. So my question to you is, and I'm sure some of our candidates are interested in, why would someone choose Visa as opposed to some other company? So what was your reason for choosing Visa as your next place of employment?
It was somewhat of a unique scenario. When the startup didn't pan out earlier this year in May, the funding company, the European one, still kept everyone on. They didn't fire anyone, and so they me and my friends that I had hired throughout the year, they said, you all have done a great job. Would you like to just help now run our strategy division and report to our CEO? And we said, sure, it sounds better than, being fired. And so we started that, and it ended up being less hours and more pay. But I was bored out of my mind. Like, I did not care about advertising technology, modeling, or strategy, or trying to see how this ad network should work, which is what the main company's business was in. And so even though I felt like I had a lot of impact, that it was a springboard position, and it was honestly less work, I struggled to get up in the morning. I was not intrinsically motivated, and there was nothing curious to me about the job, no matter how, I guess, nice or cushiony it would have been. And so what drew me really to Visa was, I would say, just an intrinsic curiosity. They were willing to take a chance on me to continue to do the work that I had exactly already been doing in the startup. And so I very much appreciated and valued that, and really felt a sense of growth and community from the people I met, as well as the recruiter. My team is majority minority, actually, where we have mostly women leaders or Black leaders. The head of crypto is Black. Chike is one of our senior directors. My senior director is an Asian woman. So like, I felt specifically on the crypto team that diversity mattered, for one, and that it was a place that I felt like I would belong to. And everyone on the team somehow found their way there. They were all intrinsically curious or passionate about crypto or CBDCs or something, and they brought that passion, every day to work into the meetings. In my interviews, we were just kind of going back and forth on theoretical crypto ideas of how the world's money can change, and sometimes in meetings you have to fight for time to talk because people are so curious and passionate. And so I feel like at Visa I was able to refine that that passion and that intrinsic curiosity that drove me to succeed in the startup. Because I feel like, at least in my opinion, you'll always do the best and wherever you want to thrive and you can be intrinsically curious. I've had several times in my career where there was positions that were more money and more prestigious, but if I personally did not care or have a drive, I knew that I would not do my best, and therefore I would not be my best. And so I always take that route.
Awesome. So to our candidates, now you have access to this wonderful team, and including our keynotes, Chike and Courtney, in our breakout sessions. I believe Courtney will probably hang out with me here in the main session if you have any general, types of questions. But now I want to thank our panelists, for being a part of our panel discussion. But now I'd like to get ready for you all to take advantage of the breakout rooms, because I want to give you guys roughly 30 minutes to engage, to ask questions, and meet the team in a little bit more intimate environment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys some quick instructions. So if you can see, I'm sharing my screen here. And what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout sessions, but I'm going to ask you all from a etiquette standpoint. There might be a lot of folks that have questions in the breakout rooms. You can feel free to turn on your camera. You can do that now or once you get into the breakout room. Once you get into the breakout rooms, you can ask your questions one of two ways. You can either ask your questions in the chat, and then I'm going to ask that our Visa team keep an eye on the chat to answer questions in the chat, or you can use Zoom, and you can use the raise hand feature. So I'm going to show you. It's called reactions on the options within Zoom. One of the reactions is raise hand. So as you can see right here, I just raised my hand. That's what it looked like. And so to the Visa team, you all can call on people that have their hand raised, and then you as candidate, you can come off of mute and you can ask your question to the team. I'm just going to ask that you keep your questions brief, because there may be people that also want to take a little bit of time to ask their questions. So try to keep your questions direct and to the point, and then allow the Visa team to answer those questions. And then to the Visa team, as you go into the breakout rooms, feel free to reiterate who you are and a little bit about your background, and then the area of the opportunities for that particular breakout room before you open it up for questions. So let's make the most of this. This is your opportunity to introduce yourself briefly and ask your questions and engage with the Visa team. All right, so we're going to have 4 breakout rooms, one for technology opportunities, one for finance opportunities, The technology room will have Ashley in the room. The finance room will have Simona in the room. And then the Visa Leadership Accelerator or the leadership development opportunities, Louisa will be there to answer questions about that opportunity and her experience there. And then Sean and Chike will be in the crypto room. So if you're curious about crypto and the opportunities there within crypto, want to ask questions there, we'll have a room open for crypto. So I'm going to go ahead and open the breakout rooms, and then you all can self-select into the rooms. And if you want to, you can move around into the different rooms. So if there's, for example, if you jump into a room and there's a lot of people in there, you might not be able to get your question in, you'd like to jump into a different room that you're interested in, feel free to do that. So let me go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. Now you all can go ahead and jump into the breakout rooms. If you have any trouble getting into a room, just hang out here in the main lobby. You can drop it in the chat which room you'd like to go into, and I'll move you into that room. And after we get everyone from the chat, then if you're on the phone, for example, you can jump on off of mute and ask for help getting into the breakout rooms. So to the Visa team, please feel free to jump into the appropriate room. And to our candidates, please also feel free to jump into the appropriate room of your interest, and you can also move around. Thank you all, and I'll stay here in the main lobby in case anyone needs help.
Hi, yes, my name is Jameer. Nice to meet you. Which one of the speakers went through the rotational program?
Louisa, room,
Right.
the leadership development room.
Thank you so much.
Sir.
So, hey, Will, mine, when I click on it, is showing room 4.
Simona.
I'm trying to join the breakout room 2 for the finance.
1 second. Let me get the Simona into room 2. 1 second, Simona. Okay, there you go.
Alrighty.
All right. Who was that wanted to get into the finance room?
Me, Alima Moody.
Alina.
Alima.
Alima. Okay, so right now it's set to Zoom user. All right, you said finance? That's okay.
Yes, please.
I got you. All right. Wei Wasiu, I'm going to get you into the technology room. 1 second. All right. All right. If you need help getting into a room, drop it in the chat. If you don't have access to the chat, you can come off of mute and I can help you get into a room. Deanna, technology, no problem. Anyone else need help getting into a room? Looks like we've got a lot of space in the crypto room and the finance room. So crypto will have Chike and Sean, and finance will have Simona. Let me know if you need help. Mark, technology. Got it. iPhone, room 1. Got you. So we got Adewale, Courtney. Courtney's with me. So Courtney, you probably can hop around if you want to different rooms.
Okay, I'm gonna join the rotational one real fast, and then I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay.
If anyone else needs help, just let me know. 5 seconds here. Talk about next steps.
Meeting is being recorded.
All right, welcome back to the main session. I'm gonna close out the breakout rooms. Hopefully you all found that opportunity to engage, well worth your time. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to do a couple more things. You can go ahead and leave your camera on, because after we talk about next steps, I want to get a screenshot of your smiling faces. So I love to do that at our event so that we can remember, and have sort of a screenshot or capture of what went down. But now we're going to talk about next steps. So Courtney actually is going to post the links to the different opportunities in the chat. But as you can see here on the screen, we also have contact information from Courtney with University Recruiting, Simona as well for the financial analyst undergrad internship, Brianna who's an associate product manager, and talking about those roles, and then of course Courtney, like I said, will be the contact for the client services development program, the software engineering program, crypto producto, and software engineering opportunities, undergrad NCG, and then undergrad intern. So Courtney, I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about those next steps and what candidates can expect as they submit their applications.
Yeah, sure. So just to let you all know, there's actually, let me go ahead and turn my camera on. So for next steps, I'm going to go ahead and post the links to some of our roles in the chat. There have been a couple of changes though with the associate financial analyst undergrad intern role. So it looks like right now for finance, and correct me if I'm wrong, Simona, but we do have an MBA intern role for finance that will begin interviews in January. But I'll go ahead and put these links here in the chat, and they'll also be shared via email. Or you know what? I can't post links for some reason.
In the
we'll
chat?
Go ahead.
Oh, you can't post the links in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay, no worries. We can send them out via email.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Sounds
for
good.
the finance department, the undergrad may be closing because I think we have to get that done before the end of the calendar year. But I know for the MBA or grad, and I'm going to say grad because it's MS, MBA, all of that stuff, that role for the internship, we start interviewing in January. So that should be open now. And you've got my email here. Feel free to reach out to me. But ultimately, I'm going to pass you to Ariane, who is our MBA grad recruiter for finance. So you would have to go through her. So if you want to reach out to me, that's fine. I'll pass it on to her.
Awesome. And the other thing we're going to do, so we're going to send a recap email. We're going to ask you all to take a survey, tell us what you thought about this evening's event. We're going to ask you to go ahead and take advantage and submit your application. So we will have the links to the application so that you can jump on those ASAP. And then we will have the recording from this evening's event for you all to check out as well in case you missed any part of it. But let me go ahead and ask you, if you'd like to turn on your cameras, I'd like to get a screenshot of your smiling faces. So I'm going to take down this slide real quick. If you want to turn on your camera and smile for us, I think that would be awesome. So let me see, stop sharing. Let me pull up everyone's view. So I'm going to remove the spotlight. Let's see. Okay, Louisa, are you ready?
Yep.
All right, everybody turn on your camera and say cheese. Let's go ahead and get some snapshots of those smiling faces and look forward to hearing back from you all. If you land an interview or you get hired, definitely let us know. You all have my email. If you just respond back to the email that we use to invite you to this opportunity, I'll get that email in my inbox. So, all right, so let's go ahead. Everybody say cheese. You want to strike a pose, go ahead. Let's go ahead and snap a couple shots. Thank you. Louisa, you got some shots as well?
Yes, yes, no worries.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so hey everyone, definitely take advantage of these opportunities. Thank you all for joining us. Without you all coming to these events, we could not make this possible. And it will be, harder for us to continue to open the door for opportunities for folks that come behind you. So thank you all for joining us and coming to the event, and to the Visa team. Thank you all as well for your time, for sharing your experiences with our audience, and also for sharing your opportunities. We really appreciate it. So we look forward to many more opportunities and events like this in the future. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Will.
Yeah, good
Bye,
evening.
everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Take care.
Yeah, thank you all.